everybody, and welcome to Having Your Say. I'm Robbie Smith. I'm coming to you from the 50th, I'll say, anniversary reunion of Harlan High School. I didn't know that there are so many people who went to this school that I am very close friends with, especially Darrell Parrish, and I just talked to Stephanie Banks. This is a very exciting event. Just think, 50 years. I just mentioned one of my great friends, Darrell Parrish. She is the phenomenal woman that I've always known her to be. And look how gorgeous she looks tonight. And she's a part, I can't imagine, you've been out of school for 50 years?
That's what they tell me.
I don't believe it.
I can't believe it.
50 is the new 30?
At least.
All right.
At least.
So tell us, what have you been doing with your life since you graduated from school?
Well, for the last 15 years, I've been retired. That means that Harlan prepared me enough to be able to do that. And then prior to that, I owned my own public relations and marketing business here in Chicago. I did some political fundraising and public relations while I was here for one really, really great person, and that's the late Harold Washington. And I worked in both his congressional and his mayoral campaigns. And then prior to that, I was an executive for nonprofit organizations throughout the city. And that's enough. If I keep going, you're going to really think I've been out of school 50 years.
Now, one thing she hasn't mentioned that she's been doing for at least 15 years, and that is playing golf.
I am a golfer. That's one of the things that people do when they retire. I live in Tucson, Arizona now, even though Chicago is my home and my heart. Whenever I'm here, I just love being back and being with my friends, and I'm so blessed to have so many in the city. But golf is something else that I enjoy a lot.
Now, since you're part of the planning of this 50th reunion, tell me, what can people expect tonight?
Well, number one, they can expect a lot of fun and a lot of enjoyment with people that they have not seen for a long time. And the thing that I like so much is last night was our meet and greet, and that's exactly what we did. People were so excited to see one another. And even earlier in the week when some of the classmates decided to get together and help me, it was like we were just reminiscing and remembering just special moments when we were at Harlan and what it meant to us and what that season of our life meant, because Harlan's a very unique school. Harlan was kind of an experiment in the West Chesterfield area on the south side of Chicago. I went to school with maybe 30% of the children of the young people in our class were Caucasian. Oh. And it was a feeder school from both Fanger, Calumet, and also CBS. And so some of them have been our classmates who are Caucasian have been talking about what a wonderful experience it was for them to have been able to go to school with African Americans, because it gave them a richness that has really pushed them through in life in ways that others don't have. Just think about this. If you only grow up with black people and then you're with white people, you kind of don't know how to act. And they felt the same way about being a minority in a majority African American environment, and how it really did help them be who they have become to be today. And I have to tell you, a couple of the guys I hung out with, we didn't care. It was just we were having fun with, I won't name drop, these two guys and a couple of girls, and we just always had a good time. It was such a wonderful time to grow up in Chicago, especially on the south side. And it was such a wonderful time to be able to connect with people that we still are friends with today. And when I was in school, we toured Harlan this morning, and everybody was talking about where they were when the announcement came that President John F. Kennedy had been shot. And as we were walking through the hall, we were all reminiscing about where we were when this occurred. So there's so many memories, so many opportunities to just look at the many blessings that we have and to renew and rekindle relationships that really we haven't forgotten about, but we lost touch with. And so this has been wonderful.
All right. Okay. So we can see Darrell has had a wonderful journey toward this 50th anniversary. And we look forward to seeing you on program tonight.
Thank you. I will be on the program tonight.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Darrell Parrish Bakeman. Hello again, everybody. I'm roaming around the 50th reunion, I'll say anniversary of the graduating class 50 years ago at Harlan High School. It is so exciting to meet so many great people and to learn what they've done since they graduated 50 years ago. I can't believe it. I'm standing here with this handsome man. Now, I can't believe he graduated 50 years ago. So tell us, what is your name, sir?
My name is Kenneth Maurice Webb Sr.
And tell us something about yourself. I understand you're an entrepreneur and you own an exciting business.
It's extremely exciting. I am the president, CEO of Fact Finders Group Incorporated, which is a research and an investigative service.
And what does that mean, actually?
Well, actually, what it means is that we provide full investigative services throughout the world. Investigative services including criminal, civil investigations, live scan, fingerprinting, corporate due diligence, fraud investigations, cybersecurity investigations, and guard service.
So I have to be careful at what I do because you may be investigating me, right?
Well, you're just too lovely of a lady to be under investigation.
Oh, thank you. Now, let's look back 50 years ago.
Okay.
Tell me, what was Harlan High School like then, and then kind of compare what you see today.
Well, what I saw back then was a camaraderie, a social, economic, educational system that was like a family. It was like a village. It was like everyone down the street and in the neighborhoods knew the students as they traveled to school. And we had a special bond, and we saw that bond re-emanate itself during this 50th reunion celebration. We saw the committee come together. We saw people come out, people that hadn't seen or spoken to each other within 50 years, just automatically go to work.
Now, are all of these people, most of them here in Chicago?
Well, they're from all over. I mean, you know, people that went to Harlan in 1964 live all over the United States.
Because the reason I ask, I'm curious as to whether or not you stay in contact on a local level with these people.
Well, there are a lot that are local, but you know, even if they are local, one of the things that happens is people become involved in other things in their lives. They become parents, they get into their profession, into their businesses, and they don't really have time. But when you start giving back to a cause like your high school, it takes a lot of time, and it really takes special people.
Now, are you local?
Yes, I am. I'm a Chicago resident. I've been here all my life. My business is located in Matteson, Illinois.
Oh, okay. Now, if you were to say something to the young people today about what you would like to see them do to move themselves up in the world, what would you say?
I would say we have to start with self-respect. I think that one of the things that's missing in today's public school system is civics. Our kids don't understand how to respect the person that's next to them or even themselves. And I think with that, you grow. And those were some of the things, those are the fundamental things that we had at Harlan High School. We respected ourselves. We respected our adults. We showed that in our demeanor, in our attire, in the way we dress, in the way we spoke. You know, I was what they called in those days an Ivy Leaguer. And the Ivy Leaguers always wore starched shirts, Brooks Brothers starched shirts, those high water pants, and the penny loafers, but had to be shined to the nine. And those are the things that you don't see with our youngsters today. You don't see the grooming. You don't see the pride in the fact that they want to display something other than what the norm is.
So what happened to get what we have today?
Well, you can address that to a lot of issues, and there are probably socioeconomic issues that exist. One of the things about Harlan is back in the 64 era, it was a school that consisted of a neighborhood of people that worked, school teachers, postmen, policemen, things of that nature. But if people are occupations of that nature, but if you look at it now, you have students coming from all over the city to Harlan. So you don't get that neighborhood cohesiveness,
That
that closeness. Yeah, it's altogether different.
Now, is Harlan the school that Susan Taylor has a mentoring program at?
Yes, she does. And as a matter of fact, I was approached by one of the members from the Alumni Association who is on that mentoring program. They had invited me to join that, and I'm going to do everything I can to get in there and help them out.
Okay, well, thank you so much for talking to us. I assume I'll see you on program tonight?
Yes, you will.
Okay, thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you, and you have the same.
I'm standing here with the president of Harlan High School in 1964. Now, does he look like he has been out of school for 50 years? Oh, no. Okay, well, welcome, Mr. President.
Thank you.
And now tell us, what is your name?
Chuck Sklarski.
And in looking back at 1964, what was your life like going to Harlan?
It was a really exciting, great life. The school was a very special place for all of us. We thought, back in 1964, it was at the cutting edge of racial integration.
Yes.
And this was one of the few schools in the city, perhaps the only school in the city, that was a truly integrated school, and where black and white interacted with one another socially, academically, athletically, and in other aspects of life.
Now, what neighborhood did you come from?
So I grew up in a
At that
neighborhood, the neighborhood was Fernwood,
Okay.
and went to Fernwood Grammar School. Would have gone to Fenger High School had Harlan not been built, but it was built and ended up going to Harlan.
Now, was it a new school when you say that?
It was a new school. It was built in 1958, I think, 57. It opened in 1959, and I think our class was the first class to actually go there, matriculate there for 4 years.
Now, tell us something about your journey from high school to where you are today.
Well, it's been a long journey. I could spare a lot of the details, but college, a couple of years in the Army, it was the Vietnam era, and then law school, 14 years as a prosecutor here in Cook County, first locally with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office and then in the U.S. Attorney's Office. And in 1986, I became a partner at the law firm of Jenner & Block, where I remain today.
I'm trying to remember. Why do I know Jenner and Block? I know that for something in my background, my history, but I can't remember.
We're one of the larger firms in Chicago.
Yes.
We are at the forefront of pro bono. We're the biggest and best pro bono firm in the country. Public service is we do a lot of that, and we're best known for our litigation. We're a very aggressive and fierce litigation firm.
Now, tell me, in looking at you went to an integrated school, and really most of the Chicago schools today, I would say, are segregated. So tell me, what do you think has happened over the years?
Well, the schools have, at least back then, they were all neighborhood schools. They didn't have special schools for special subjects or special college prep schools or anything like that. So I think today the schools that are integrated are those schools that are specialty schools. And it's largely because the neighborhoods remain largely segregated today. And so to the extent a school draws from the neighborhood in which it sits, the kids are going to be white, or they're going to be Hispanic, or they're going to be African American.
Yes, and that is kind of a sad story. Now tell us, in looking at how young people going to school were in '64, and the profile, I don't like to use the word profile, so I'm not going to say that. And we look at the young people today. What do you think has happened over the years that we don't have the commitment to education, and just a number of things that have been lost?
Well, I don't know. I'm not that close to the school system today, so it's hard to say. My son does teach in the Chicago Public Schools, and I think that we haven't treated our teachers with the respect and recognition that they deserve. And as I look back on our experience, the teachers were an inspiration to us. They were role models to us. And I think that the teaching profession can continue to do that today, but in order to attract the brightest and the best to that profession, they need to recognize it in terms of money. And let's just not mince words about it. We need to pay teachers more money. You know, when the janitor makes more than the teacher, something's wrong with that system.
Something is definitely wrong. Well, thank you so much for talking
You're
with
very
us.
welcome. It's my
Have a
pleasure.
great evening.
Thank you.
I feel like this room is filled with love and joy and beauty and excitement. And that's because each and every person that is seated in this room came to celebrate. Celebrate the fact that we are all still here. Celebrate that we are in our right minds and that we're full of the Spirit and that we wanted to show up and be counted for the celebration of Harlan class of 1964, 50th high school reunion. Let's give ourselves a big round of applause. I am so delighted that we are finally at this point. As you know, we put this together pretty quickly. We started in May with probably about 23 names and phone numbers. And I know some people in this room got sick of hearing from me asking them, do you know anybody? Do you know anyone's phone number and email address? It was like pulling teeth. But look at us. Look at what has transpired. At our 25th, we only had 61 people. Tonight, we are 83 strong. You got a list in August of missing classmates, and we've been able to fill in the blanks. And from this point forward, we have the beginning of a great database that we can all share in and keep up with for the rest of our lives. So I just hope that each and every one of you will remember that that email address, Harlan, 1964 class reunion, is not going to go down after tonight. It's going to continue, and you can continue to send names and phone numbers of people who might not have been able to come tonight, because this is not the end. It is the beginning of something wonderful. So, without further ado, I would like to bring up our class president of the class of 1964, one Chuck Scholarski.
Well, it's wonderful to see everybody who's here, and I have a number of things I would like to say as introductory remarks this evening. The first order of business is a thank you to the people responsible for this evening. At the risk of omitting someone's name that should be mentioned, I'm going to single out some people. Darrell called, as she said, in May, a number of us to form a committee to have a 50th reunion. And the committee really met on a weekly basis by telephone to discuss all of the details and plans for this event. And that committee consisted of Ken Webb, Paul Orich, Seth McCormick, myself, and in later months, toward the end, Bernadette Jones Scruggs. And everybody had their own little task. Mine was the easiest. I just arranged the conference calls every week, and that was easy. But the real thanks goes to Darrell. She was the taskmaster. She kept us working. She kept us focused, and here we are. So I want to give a big hand of applause to Darrell. Next order of business is a really warm welcome to all of you. We certainly welcome the graduates of the class of '64, and we have some honored guests with us. We have the current principal of Harlan High School, Reginald Evans, and his wife, and we warmly thank you for coming here and honoring us with your presence. And we have two former teachers at Harlan. I don't believe either of you are still teaching at Harlan, but Mr. Edward Robinson and Miss Elsie Hamilton Jones. And we thank you for not only for the days when we were at Harlan, but we thank you for sharing this evening with us tonight. A special thank you goes out to the spouses of the Harlan graduates who were not at Harlan for putting up with our war stories, our tales of greatness, in which there is some truth, but probably mostly it's been exaggerated over the years. And so a big hand for the spouses. And then there are some guests that are not here with us tonight. One, Sherman Howard, who honored us with his presence last night. For those of you who were with us last night, Sherman Howard is a great, great person. We were blessed to have been able to work with him and to have had him give us his wisdom, his experience, his knowledge. In his own right, he was a great man. He was an outstanding high school athlete. He was an outstanding college athlete. He was a World War II veteran. He was one of the very first African American players in the National Football League. He was the first football coach at Harlan, and you can choose among those things which is the most important. And okay, there we go. So we want to honor him for his own accomplishments, but we want to also honor him for what he gave to us. Lessons of character, humanity, fair play, hard work, and wisdom. And his wisdom covered many varieties. Most of it was just common sense. I recall a football game where one of our players got in a fight with a player on the other team, and we got into the locker room after the fight was broken up. Mr. Howard said, "I don't approve of fighting, but if you're going to fight, leave your helmet on." And then some of his advice and some of his observations of life were very simple, but very profound. Last night when I was speaking with him at the table, he said, and we celebrated his 90th birthday last night. He said, "You know, one of the things that's really wonderful about getting old is you get to see how everything turns out." That is so simple, yet so profound.
You know, I was quite surprised at how many of you showed up this morning at the tour. I know those that live in Chicago, that's probably no big deal. But for those of us that have not been back for 50 years, it was really special. And I didn't expect it to be as special as it was. It was just wonderful. And I would like to bring up the person who was at the helm of Harlan High School in 2014, one Reginald Evans, who is the principal. And let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much, and good evening to all of you. Children can't be what they can't see. And I say that to you because our children need to see you. Our children do see you through a program called the Harlan Rising. And it's a mentoring program that was started by a young lady some of you all know, Susan Taylor, former editor of Essence magazine, where there are two Harlanites that are in our building Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Charlotta Maddox and Beatrice Haynes, who have actually recruited some of you and other classes to come in and to talk with our kids about experiences, about hard times, and it truly makes a difference in all of our lives. My boss walked in one day last year, and all of this noise was coming out of our post-secondary room. And so I said, "Well, come on, Chief, let's walk down the hall." She said, "No, I want to go in there." And I said, "No, you can't go in there right now." And when we opened the door, they were eating and drinking and telling jokes. She said, "No, I want to be in here." You guys have a spirit and a love for Harlan that's unlike anything that I have seen. I'm a graduate of Simeon High School. And I remember playing Harlan. I was telling my wife this earlier. I was hanging all out the bus because we were trying to look at the cheerleaders to get to the game. We need to bring back those good times to Chicago. At one point, there were 8 sitting judges in Chicago, and I know one has retired recently. We had a law day at Harlan. I want to show you guys off. I want to tell your story. It's important that our kids know the history of Harlan and that this was the Whitney Young before there was a Whitney Young. Yes. This is where this started. Thank you for what you've done. Thank you for what you do. And anytime you're in the neighborhood, please stop by. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. We're going to have to do more than just drop by. Don't you agree? I think we're going to have a call to action, and we'll have to start talking about what that should look like. But in addition to having a representative in the form of a principal, we also happen to have the John Marshall Harlan Alumni Association president. I would like to know how many people are active in the Alumni Association. Well, we're going to have to improve that also. So I'm going to invite Sharon Massey to come up, and I want you to meet her. Sharon?
Good evening, everybody. First and foremost, on behalf of the John M. Harlan High School Alumni Association, NFP, JMHAA, I congratulate you, the 1964 Harlan High School graduates, on celebrating your 50th anniversary. What a legendary milestone. The JMHAA officers for 2014 and 2015 are President Harold Jenkins, class of 72, Vice President Sean Hawk, class of 71, Secretary Mashana Manning, class of 88, and Treasurer Carl Avery, class of 69. I am Sharon Harvey Massey, class of 1965, and I know quite a few of you here because as a senior, that's all we knew. As a junior, rather, our seniors. I'm the JMHAA membership chair and past president.
Hello, everybody. This is part 1 of our coverage of the 50th reunion of the Harlan High School class of 1964. We will bring you parts 2 and 3 in the very near future. In the meantime, please come back and join us for Having Your Say on CAN TV 19.